I'm Stephen Monteith, and these are the Monte Awards. There are 1,000 different award shows out there, pretty much all of which are devoted to the best in movies, books, music, whatever people feel deserve to be called number one. Or they give awards to the favorite movie of whoever is running the show. There are even award shows for the worst. It's unclear which type of awards shows cause more debate about who the winners should be. The Monte Awards aren't given to the best, though. They're certainly not given to the worst. Like I said, there are plenty of those types of shows out there, and I have plenty of problems with both of them. The Montes are about the movies that get lost and all of the noise we make about what movies are the best and the worst. There are great movies out there that everyone should watch, and terrible movies that no one should watch. They don't need any more attention drawn to them, and they certainly don't need more accolades or ridicule. Now, the Montes are about the movies in the middle, movies that people aren't watching, but should be. I had another awards show a few years back on my old website, Fourth Day Universe. It was a standard what movies are the best type show with a few original categories of my own thrown in there. The categories included Best Movie Universe, meaning all the ways the movie immerses you in the world it presents, and Most Ambitious, rewarding the risks the movie takes, even if it fails. Because, believe it or not, failure doesn't make a movie bad. The Montes are here in part to recognize that movies can fail for lots of reasons. Maybe there was some bad acting. Maybe it had one too many plot holes. Maybe the risks the movie took alienated the fan base. Maybe the marketing department was the real failure. Maybe it opened the same month as 6 other movies that each made more than $500 million. But maybe there's still good movies that deserve an audience, even a sequel or a franchise. The movies I've picked this year didn't all fail, but they all deserve to do better than they did. The first award tonight goes to a movie I've talked about a couple of times in my podcast. Teen Titans Go to the Movies. The Teen Titans franchise has a lot of baggage attached, which, as I said, I've talked about in my podcast. Well, there's a lot of drama in the fan base, and that drama has certainly impacted how many people decided to actually go and watch the movie. But the movie itself is worth watching. It has humor, action, music, references to every DC Comics franchise in history, and a rare DC movie cameo from Stan Lee himself. Now, there were plenty of great animated movies in 2018, and like the Teen Titans, their movie was overshadowed by the other heroes' movies. Movies like Into the Spider-Verse, and Incredibles 2. But if you want just a fun movie to watch, this is it. In the fantasy category, we have I Killed Giants, a movie about a 12-year-old girl whose family, teachers, and fellow students are more harmful to her than helpful. So she has a fantasy life where she fights giants. There aren't that many actual scenes of her fighting giants, which probably disappointed a lot of people expecting some kind of fantasy superhero movie. But really, we need to stop expecting every movie to just be there for special effects and fight scenes, especially fantasy and sci-fi movies. A lot of things can make a movie good, and I Kill Giants deserves to be judged on what it has, not on what it doesn't have. The next Monte goes to Mortal Engines, in the post-apocalyptic near-future category. If you want special effects, this tale about roving cities definitely has some great ones. It also has a lot of heart to it. Adapted from the book by Philip Reeve, and with Peter Jackson producing, it's full of amazing action and set designs, not to mention interesting characters. I mentioned before that I used to give awards for Best Movie Universe. Well, in a year that has multiple Marvel movies and that took us under the sea with Aquaman, this movie would still be a contender for that category. It definitely deserves more attention than it got in theaters, where it had to fight for attention with not only Aquaman, but also with the Transformers and Mary Poppins. Now, any of the three Monte winners I've brought up so far would have been a good candidate for the young adult Monte. And the movie that did win in the YA category would have been a good choice for the post-apocalyptic Monte, which Mortal Engines won. That movie is The Death Cure, the third movie in the Maze Runner trilogy. What is it about these two categories, post-apocalyptic and young adult, that makes putting them together just seems so natural? The struggle to reach adulthood can definitely feel like a struggle to make sense of the world, a war against the people who hold all the power, and any adult you meet may be trying to help you, or they may be pure evil. That's what we see in The Death Cure. And the troubled production, including Dylan O'Brien's injury, gave a lot of people reason to doubt whether the Maze Runner trilogy could reach the finish line. But it reached it, and we got to see a lot of characters reach the end of their arcs in the process. Not to mention, the action sequences are not bad at all. Another franchise that had difficulties with its latest installment that deserves another chance is the Predator franchise. 2018's The Predator changed up some established lore. It introduced new elements and it retconned others. That's risky, but it's the same kind of risks that other franchises have been forgiven for taking. It's the kind of risks that I certainly love rewarding. And it's not like there's nothing entertaining about the movie itself. The characters are interesting, if a bit two-dimensional at times. There's more than enough gore to earn it a spot among the other Predator films. And the little nods to the previous movies are actually really funny. But I guess that's a matter of opinion. Point is, it deserves another chance, and that's why I'm awarding it the horror movie Monte. I almost gave the horror Monte to Annihilation, a movie that would seem to have gotten a lot of attention at the time, but somehow still ended up on a few "you must have missed this" lists for 2018. Annihilation is this year's sci-fi movie Monte. It adopts another novel, this one by Jeff Vandermeer, and it stars Natalie Portman as the leader of a group sent to investigate an extraterrestrial phenomenon. This movie isn't for everyone, as it's not only cerebral sci-fi, but also an R-rated horror. And all the horror elements may be why more people didn't watch it in theaters, but it's also very smart and very thought-provoking. So if you don't mind nightmares about aliens and zombie bears, you should consider watching it. Another movie that could have gotten a horror movie Monte is Venom. It's more of a horror comedy, really. You wouldn't necessarily know it from the marketing, which makes it look like just a horror movie. And combined with the PG-13 rating, makes it look like a watered-down horror movie. Just like with the Predator, the Venom fan base can be pretty unforgiving. And there are connectivity concerns with this movie and the related Spider-Man franchise, not to mention the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it's still a good movie. As a standalone movie, it has great action sequences, it's funny as hell, and it's occasionally pretty damn scary. It wasn't exactly a failure at the box office, but in a year that gave us billion-dollar powerhouses like Black Panther, Infinity War, and even Aquaman, Venom definitely got overshadowed a bit. The last one on the list is Tomb Raider. Like Venom and Predator, it's a franchise that has struggled a bit on the big screen. It's at even more of a disadvantage because of the so-called video game movie curse. It's not the only video game movie that came out in 2018 either. I thought about giving Rampage, for example, the video game movie Monte. I even thought about giving it to Ready Player One, since that movie's all about life inside of a video game. They both did better at the box office, though. And Alicia Vikander just did such a good job as the new Lara Croft. She deserves a chance to play her again. And if the original Angelina Jolie Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie can get a sequel, this one certainly deserves to get one. That's pretty much it for the night. Thank you for watching the first ever Monte Awards. We'll see if I do one for books, TV shows, etc. in the future. In the meantime, don't forget to check out my website, my ebooks, my podcast, my various social media sites. There will be links to all of them in the description. Thank you.